Good evening, YouTube. Wanted to make a little follow-up video here. I've started to consume the plants I've been growing. They've been going in our smoothie machine as the leafy green component. We do have to put in the fruit part. Can't grow fruit here in Winnipeg in the winter. Not likely. I want to talk about a few of the things that I've noticed up to date here. What I noticed was that the Swiss chard down here did really good. I've got three Swiss chard. This one right here, the big one in the back there, let's see, you can see over there, and that red one over there in the corner. They did really good. The kale looks kind of puny, and a lot of these mustards and collards and the arugula, they just don't look great down here. They seem to be just too yellow. They haven't really thrived. And the thing that I did was I upped the fertilizer and I lowered the pH a wee bit. And the new growth on this plant here, this leaf here, looks much greener than these ones here. This has this mottled yellow and green look about it. I think this is an arugula. It doesn't look great, but the new growth does look greener. And that one over there, that one is some sort of a mustard, I think, and it just looks very, very yellow. Doesn't look great. So I'm going to try growing those up in the top section in the gravel. I'll come up top now. Up here, as you can see, it looks, you might not be able to tell, but it is thinned out quite a bit. I've been chopping it and eating it. The bok choy did really good, other than when I go in there and harvest, it beats the stuff up a little bit. But this turned out pretty good, this bok choy, and the lettuce for the most part turned out pretty good. Some of the romaine lettuce, type lettuce, gets a little bit of this blighty looking stuff on it. Let's see if I can pull this sucker out right here. I'm not sure what it is, but I got a microscope. I may let's see if I can hold it up to a light here. There we go, maybe we can see that. Kind of get something that looks like that happening on it right there, eh? Yeah, okay. Come back to here. So that's mostly just what I wanted to show here. I don't know all the lettuce, even though it was good looking and it was healthy looking, it was bolty kind of. So I think that might be the light or the temperature. I don't know if there's much I can do about that. But when I grow the lettuce down in the Kratky area, I've seen on YouTube, it does tend to do well down there. I'm not sure if this bok choy will suffer. It did quite well in the gravel here. And the Swiss chard, I may just leave it down there as well. But I also don't want to get into that problem of having aggressive plants versus slower root developing plants, where you get the big ones sucking all the water out of it, and the little slower moving lettuce type ones just sit there crying out for moisture because their roots can't keep up with the with these type of plants, or these Swiss chards. But overall, it's been a pretty good first go of it. This does work well. There's a couple of things I wanted to mention here. When I was, you can check out my earlier video when you could see what was in these totes here. But what I would like to do is I would like to make an interconnect between the two totes with a couple of grommets and a pipe, and that could act as a backup overflow in case one of them plugs up. That way, you know, if the front one plugs, the water will flow into the back one. If the back one plugs, the water will flow into the front one, because each tote has its own drain, and the chances of two of them plugging at the same time is probably not all that good. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was my concern was looking at this irrigation distribution pipes, these 1/4 inch lines. I called it the rib cage, and it didn't look that good when I had it first going. If you check my earlier video out, you'll see it, but once the greenery shows up, you can't even see it. When I was building this, I had cut my totes down to size. Then as I started to fill them with water to test it to see how it went, the water came up quite high to within about an inch of the top of the totes. And this is all mentioned in my earlier video, but my advice is, if you're going to make something like this hybrid Kratky and a gravel bucket type system here, is don't cut your totes first. Find out where your water line is, and then cut your totes down with about an inch or two above that as a little bit of a buffer. I simply just got lucky. If I had to cut the totes off at about an inch and a half lower, they would have probably overflown or been very, very close. So why take a chance? So you can always find out where it goes. I think it has to do with the relationship between the height of the table from the Kratky section down here to the top, and the thickness of the pipes and the water pressure that's generated to push out the little air pockets in the drain pipes. But I don't know if that's true. That's just what I think it is. It sounds reasonable, but best to test first and cut the tote later than find out you cut it too short and it's just not going to work. So that might be a good thing to do. Okay. Really nothing else to talk about here. I believe it's Sunday. I think it's the 29th of December. It's in Winnipeg, Canada here, and it's down to about 25 below centigrade. That's almost 25 below Fahrenheit, probably about 18 below or something like that. Wind chills and all that kind of stuff. So up here in Canada, we get the real winter, and it's here in its full force right now. Okay, well, those are a couple of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'll post this video as a bit of a follow-up. But again, to sum things up, overall, pretty good production so far. The system works well. Finding the right plants in the right part of it is good, and having half Kratky and half gravel, I think that's a really good idea. That way you can find the right type of a growing area for the plant that you're trying to grow. And again, these leafy greens seem to be the way to go, because not much else you can grow like this anyways. But anyways, good night, YouTube.